Now, Greg, come up here. This is a guy that came into my office, and he had this grandiose idea about a skating rink, an ice arena. This was a guy that had the passion, he cared, he had the commitment, and he could make it happen. And sometimes, you know, when you're talking to someone, if that's all you need to know, is that you have that kind of personal commitment. And we love you for this.
Thank you.
You'll be long gone. This will still be here, and so will I, and so will the Hazelwoods. And kids will be skating still at this ice arena.
Yes.
And so you have left a legacy to this city and to this community. And that's what life's about. I think that's what life's about, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Let's give him a hand.
That. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
A little over 2 years ago, Greg came to me and said, Jim, I'd like to build an ice arena. As the mayor just stated, you do see in people a certain urgency, and Greg had it.
I can't believe it's only 2 years. I'm not sure whether it's 2 years or 20 years or 2 minutes that I first conceived of the Bremerton Ice Arena project. Is this a lot of fun or what? Denise, is this a lot of fun or what?
All right, that's it. It's official. The ground is broken.
How about 3 cheers for the Bremerton Ice Arena? Hip hip! Hooray! Thank you.
Okay. You should be glad that he's your marketing guy, not your numbers guy, based on that hip hip hooray, huh?
Thank you very much, and we'll see you on the ice.
We hope to have you skating in May, and that's our goal. Thank you very much. Thank you, Chuck and Joanne, so much for this project. It's time now for us to put the ball in the hoop and build it.
I think the major thing I appreciate most about Mr. Meaken is his love for hockey and ice sports.
He's a total steamroller, and it's driven by his passions. He has a passion for the game of hockey, he has a passion for ice sports, and it's so obvious just to see how much he wants to see that be a part of every kid's life on the Kitsap Peninsula, much as it was a part of his own life.
There isn't a day that goes by that I've been in his company in the last 2 years that I haven't just completely belly laughed, because he just has a way about him.
He has a great sense of humor because he hired me.
How many bosses can you say to get your lazy butt out of bed on the phone and have them laugh back at you? It's just a joy to come to work for him, and there aren't too many people that can say they like to go to work.
Is that he always has an everlasting sense of humor. And sometimes he'll get like an overwhelming cockiness when he's around guys that are like his skill and his quality at everything he does.
And if he gets something on his mind that he wants to do, then it's going to be done, and that's just the way it's going to be until he gets a red light or, you know, somebody says, nope, done. You know, he will keep going. He will be a green light all the way, and that's the way it was with the ice project.
The guy has the remarkable ability of imposing his own will upon destiny.
2 mouse fell in a bucket of milk. 1 mouse drowned. The second mouse swam and swam and swam until he churned that milk into butter. That second mouse was Greg Meaken.
You know, I admire everything about him. I admire his work ethic. I admire everything he's done for the community around here. I just admire everything about him. Everything that he is encompasses a great, great man, a legend by his terms.
That he's willing to learn, he's willing to be open to just about anything. He lets his ego get completely out of the way of his goals.
Despite all the knowledge and experience he has in business and in the hockey world, he's not afraid to admit that he doesn't know everything, and he still looks for advice and help from anyone else that can give it to him.
Without his vision, his dreams, his youthfulness, his kid inside, we wouldn't have this today in Kitsap County. Great guy, he keeps the child alive in all of us. Wonderful to be around, just energizes me and everybody else all the way.
Actually, his patience, and he's always in a good mood. one of the best bosses I've ever had.
The fact that he brought an ice rink to Bremerton has got to be just the biggest thing. He saved me gas money and oil changes, tune-ups on the old vehicle. So he's definitely saving me some money by bringing it here.
He has worked so hard, but no matter what it takes, no matter how long, to make this dream come true for so many kids around Kitsap County. He's done everything he can to bring a lot of joy to their little hearts, and it'll stay with them forever, like hockey stayed with him since he was a little boy.
I really appreciate how he actually got this whole project done, and how he how I'm in a hockey league now and skating.
Okay, a humorous or funny fact about Greg Meaken, and I don't know if this is true with all ice guys, I assume it is, since he's part of that world, is that they never wash any of their jock equipment that they have worn since they were 11. So when he first talked about dragging all this stuff out of his old hockey bag, I was going, oh my gosh, no, you're surely not going to put that back on, are you? He got a little miffed when I started throwing a few things out.
When I first met him, we throw all stories around. He's a Montreal Canadian fan, grew up in Montreal. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. So Montreal and Buffalo, always competitors, always great rivalries. So we're talking about hockey and throwing some anecdotes around, and he comes to me and says, hey, you know, I still got a lot of my old gear from high school and that. And I said, hey, so do I. So he sees me one day, he takes me out to the trunk and he's showing me his old gear. And I wondered, do they still skate with double-bladed skates in Canada?
Greg really should have been an interior decorator. He is very gay. This is a little-known fact in the community, but I am here to attest to the fact that Mr. Meaken, albeit that he's a family man, has that little tendency.
I would probably have to go with the fact that despite, again, all his knowledge and years of experience of playing the game of hockey, he's still the biggest tripod I've ever seen in my life, and the man can barely skate. He refuses to admit the fact that Greg is gay and I am his lover. He's mine.
Greg is the only man I know who has a toilet in his office.
Not only in his office, when they say in his office, it's literally like feet away from his desk. And I don't know, it's pretty interesting to go in there, like after Greg's had a big lunch.
Is when we went to Kent one day, and you, Rick Foxworth, you were filming him once, and he was getting pretty cocky. So he says he's gonna like spray the camera, like, you know, spray. So he starts winding up, goes all the way around the arena, and he's going at a blazing speed. So he just does it, and he trips or something, and then he just falls crashing to the ice.
I knew I was gonna do that one.
Bangs his elbow, hurts his butt and his knee, and everyone was just doubled over in laughter.
He's like up to here to me. Maybe I'll get him some platform so he can actually someday give me a kiss on my cheek.
We were living in a apartment complex in Federal Way, and my mom and I lived in one apartment, and he lived in another apartment with his roommate Brent. And he was out playing basketball, and he was wearing those really high basketball shorts that everyone used to wear in the 80s that came up to like your waist. And he was out playing basketball, and I was out playing or something, and I saw him out there, and I had one of those sticks that whipped really loud in the wind when you wave it around. So I saw him playing basketball, and I walked right up to him. I took my stick and I hit him as hard as I could in the thigh. And he looked down at me, you know, and I'm my mom's son. He doesn't want to get an angry woman at him, you know, but he says, Tanner, you hit me again with that stick, I'm gonna break it. And I looked him up in the eyes, and many years of confrontation have come down to these two moments. I looked him in the eyes, I raised my hand, and I whacked him across the leg again. And he grabbed that stick out of my hand, he broke it into a million pieces, and I went crying to my mom. I said, Mom, Greg broke my stick. And she says, well, what'd you do to Greg? I said, nothing. So I'd say that's probably one of my humorous stories about him.
The funniest thing, when in the morning he has his robe on, then he has his BIA jacket on, then he has his pajama pants on, and then he has his slippers on.
Call it Taliban outfit.
And we call it the Taliban outfit. Pretty funny.
We actually were just sitting in his office the other day going over things for all the upcoming events, and it's just absolutely killing him that he doesn't know what's going on the 16th, because we're keeping it such a secret. And he's just trying to get things out of me, and I won't let him know. And he was sitting there saying, you know, I'm not the kind of person that likes to be the center of attention. And it was all I could do to not just laugh in his face, because we know it's all a big old crock of you know what, because you love to be the center of attention, Greg. And the whole staff knows it, and we all keep laughing about it. So you just wait and see. We've got some good things planned for you.
You know, the thing about Greg is, you know, he just can't skate. And it all started with the time I was on the ice with him, and we're at the Kent Arena, and I get sprayed by Greg with ice. Now, normally, you would see them coming at you and you would move. But I did not know he was going to spray me with ice, because he was going in almost slow motion. So by the time he got there, the ice basically was just moved out of shock alone that he made it to there. So I have been thinking and thinking about this and wondering, how are we going to have Greg skate on a public session with all these innocent children around that could get mowed over at any moment? And I found that there were other people that had my same fears, and I have pages upon pages of people that have signed petitions saying, please, please, for our children's sake, keep Greg off the public ice. So if I get too much more, I'm just going to really have to listen to that and go with the people. But love you, Greg.
One time I actually let him have a camera while we were doing some sound booth narration and that sort of thing. And all of a sudden he became the, I guess we would call him the French director or something. I mean, out of the blue. You know, some things I had to laugh at without quite understanding why, because of that notorious Canadian sense of humor. But then he finally figured that out, and then what he would do is actually walk around in front of the camera and tell you that now that was a joke. So he really helped me out there. I'm starting to understand Canadian humor now.
Well, I just know that this is one of many for Greg Meaken. It's just the beginning of his Maslowing. You can't stop a type A personality who loves ice and Maslows at the same time. And I just love you to pieces, and I'm so happy to be married to you, darling. I love you.
Dad, thank you really much for putting this whole rank together and getting me signed up in hockey and skating and getting my own hockey gear. Thank you.
He knows what it means to me, and I'll start like bawling if I start going into it. But you know, Greg, how much it means to me and to everyone else, and just a huge thank you.
Just thanks for putting it all in motion.
Thanks to Greg for giving me the opportunity to share in his dream. As with everybody else, it's been a true pleasure watching it all come together. And I'm very grateful for being a part of this really wonderful, wonderful experience.
So thanks a lot, Greg. You're making your dreams, your sons, and a whole lot of people in this community, dreams come true. Thanks.
And Dad, there's no one better than you, because you're the best. Never give up, never surrender.